Hi everyone, my name is Dana Gelsomino and this is episode 7 of the Ask a Question show, the show in which you ask any type of question regarding a narcissistic or otherwise abusive or toxic situation or relationship, and I, along with the rest of the audience here, will do our very best to help answer it. Our goal here is to give you the support and the feedback that you so need in order to move forward in getting the clarity, the closure, and the healing that you so deserve. And so today's question comes from about 1,000 different people. I'm getting this question a lot and I'm glad it's really being brought up. The question is, Dear Dana, how do I effectively co-parent with a narcissist? Well, I'm going to say that you don't. I don't think you can do anything effectively with these people. And by narcissist, we're talking about a person who has very selfish behavior, they're entitled, their behavior is highly manipulative, they exploit other people, their behavior is often very destructive emotionally, financially, psychologically, and sometimes they can even be dangerous. So I think it's next to impossible to do anything effectively with these kinds of people. So then the question is, okay, so then how do you co-parent? How do you co-parent with somebody like this? I would say make the mindset shift of doing damage control. How do you ideally effectively parent? How do you, not as a team, how do you effectively parent your child in order to give them the most, supportive childhood that you can possibly give them and to minimize the damage from your partner? Because the only thing that you have control over is you and your actions. You do not have control over your partner. Sure, you can bring up boundaries, you can bring up rules. Odds are they're only going to abide by them whenever they want to, because that's the kind of personality that you're dealing with if you're dealing with a narcissistic kind of person. So when you're trying to do anything with a person who's highly manipulative, I think it really helps to realize exactly the kind of behaviors that you can anticipate with them. And then, of course, to then anticipate. It's sort of like the whole Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football, and Charlie Brown would run up to it and Lucy'd pull it out and Charlie Brown would fly up and he'd land flat on his back. So knowing that's kind of the dynamic, don't fall for it. So the best way, I think, to prevent from getting baited into these kinds of crazy making things where you're constantly feeling like you're set up to lose or that they're hurting somehow, they're just creating drama and chaos and strife with you and your child, is to go into it anticipating their behavior, realizing that they are a real jerk face and that's why they're your ex. And so jerk face people have jerk face behaviors. And then to kind of reverse engineer it. So if your ex is always coming back with your child and your child doesn't have their homework done or they're dropping them off late or, they're coming home dirty or they're not, whatever they're doing, they're talking trash about you to your child, they're trying to pick fights with you in front of the kids, maybe they're saying mean things to your child, to kind of know, okay, these are the behaviors that have been pretty consistent from your partner, so now you can expect it and now you can be more proactive instead of reactive to those behaviors. So if your ex is returning your kids late and they haven't done their homework, try to get homework done before they go out with your ex. Okay, if your kids are coming back hungry, pack a bunch of snacks that they can, consistently, right? If they're consistently coming back hungry, pack a bunch of snacks that they can take with them. If they're coming back with, a bunch of dirty diapers, or they're coming back with they should have had their diaper changed 6 hours ago, any type of behavior that's, abuse and neglect, you definitely always want to document that. You always want to take pictures of that. I would anticipate, depending on how destructive and neglectful your ex is, that you're probably going to end up going back to court with them at some point. So keep a paper trail, take pictures, anticipate. You want to try to go in as armed as you possibly can with as much proof as you possibly can. So, anticipating their behavior is really going to be huge. I would also go into it with there's going to be a lot of things that your ex is going to do that's not going to be right and it's not going to be fair. And to just kind of be like, okay, whatever. My whole goal is to provide a good childhood for my child and to model as much appropriate behavior as I possibly can so that I can set my child up with the skills they need to go on and move forward and have a normal, decent relationship with somebody else. So if your ex is trying to pick fights with you at the door, these kinds of things, to not get baited in. Again, anticipating this behavior will really help. So if they're coming to the door, they're picking a fight with you, saying, you know what, John, I don't think this is not a conversation that I want to have in front of little Johnny. If you've got an issue with me, you know, you're more than welcome to give me a call here in a little bit and we can talk about it. But all you have control over is all you have control over. Your behaviors, your actions. You don't have control over your partner, but you do have control over, again, like your reaction to it. So don't let somebody bait you into something. If you do end up getting in a fight with your partner or whatever, I'm a big fan of teachable moments, and especially with kids. And so letting them know, hey, you know what, this is what happened. This was not okay. These are our household rules. We don't call each other names. I did not handle that very well. I'm working on this, and kind of letting your kids know that this is not how we talk to other people, regardless of how they talk to us, and this is a better way to handle it for next time. These kinds of things. I would also encourage you, because highly manipulative and especially abusive people, one of their main tools with controlling their victim is isolation. And one of the ways they do this with children is by getting them to keep secrets, or by saying really hurtful things where children feel like they can't talk to other people about it because they don't maybe not want to hurt your feelings, or they just feel very powerless in this situation. So I would say even having at your house, having a family meeting night. Maybe it's every Wednesday, maybe you guys have pizza and it's an enjoyable experience. And then during that meeting, you guys go around, and the whole goal is to open up communication. So you could do a game called, this is what I used to do when I worked with at-risk kids. We had a game called High and Low. And so it was, what is the best thing that happened to you today? And what is the worst thing that happened to you today? And it was just designed to kind of open up communication. I would encourage you to if you think that your partner is talking trash about you to your child, saying, I bet it's really hurtful when dad or mom says those things to you, and it's okay, but we can talk about these things, and my whole goal is to give you a good childhood, and let's talk about these things, let's work through them, and that's okay. This is a house that our actions match our words, and that we love each other and we support each other, and we do that in a wide variety of ways, right? So how we talk to each other is loving and supportive. How we, our actions, like I said, line up with our words. If I say I'm gonna be at your school play, I'm gonna be at your school play. If I do what I say I'm going to do. So going that extra mile to really make sure that your child has a very solid home base with you, because you are the only person that you have control over in this situation again. So, and again, if your partner's behavior is, abusive or neglectful, I would go take it. You don't let it go. Push it. Try to get supervised visits if you can. Arm yourself with as much information and proof as you can, and just work for what is in your child's best interest. So that's what I have. I'll be curious to see what the rest of the audience has. And if anybody else has a question for the Ask a Question show, you can email me at dana@narcissistsupport.com. It'll be down below. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, frustrations, ideas, insights, you need some support, you just want to say hi, I'd love to hear from you guys. We'll see what we can do. And as always, lots of love to you guys. You are not alone, and you are not crazy, and you really can heal and move forward in this, and you just take care. Lots of love to you, okay? Have a good night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.